Well, let's talk about flail mowers. Now, a lot of you guys with tractors go out and get yourself a bush hog or a brush hog that is a horizontal cutting mower. So it's got a center disc and 4 blades, you know, that are 18 to 24 inches long and go around this way. They work great. I happened to pick up a couple of these units called a flail mower at auction, and I've always wanted one, and it's a little bit different concept. So your PTO still comes in to your gearbox here. Your gearbox turns a shaft, shaft turns pulleys, pulleys have a belt, belt goes down below. Here, there's a series of cylinders. So you have this cylinder, which is a roller. Okay, this is what sets your height of mow. Bolts on the side, you can raise it up and down. What the second cylinder up here, if you can just barely see the blades hanging, or hammers, there's a cylinder and there's lugs welded on it. And those lugs accept these shackles, like so. So the shackle goes into the lug, and then you have a pin and a cotter pin that'll go in the end. So there are 36 lugs to go to underneath there, which is a total of 72 blades. Now, the existing blades underneath there are just shot. They're been dinged up. This thing's, you know, dang near 20 years old, and they've probably never been changed. But I'll get up close here, and you can see these guys have a nice edge on it, and that's about how they hang. Actually, they hang more like this, to tell you the truth. I just have them put together and set out across the back, so as I crawl underneath there to work on them, I have them all set out and ready to go. So cotter pin goes in the end like that. You bend one end over so it can't come loose. Surprisingly enough, I've used this, used both of them once, so I've mowed with them twice. It actually does a pretty darn good job, and they don't get bogged down like the brush hogs did or do. I've also noticed that when you're backing or even going across the lawn, brush hogs are so long that as your tractor dips, it raises. As your tractor goes up, it digs. This is shorter, so there's not as much of a traverse area, and it stays more level. You can also stripe your yard with these. So after I get these changed out and get it up in working order to actually like trim mow with the large portion of my field, I'll post a video about it. But I'm going to have to get underneath here now. To change these out, you really just need needle nose pliers, a hook of some kind, pair of channel locks, probably a hammer and a pin. Some of these are so beat up, I might even have to cut them off with a torch, who knows. But that's what we got so far. Well, all right. As you can see, I've got most of these hammers changed out. You can see the difference here. These are all wore down. You're not going to get an even cut with these. These new ones here, brand new, all nice and sharp. Some of these were missing one of the blades, you know, it was just gone. But I thought I'd show how these get changed out. So I was also thinking to myself, man, sometimes I wish I had half the ambition and twice the smarts and just pay somebody to do this shit. Anyways, really all you need is a pair of channel locks, a pair of needle nose, flathead screwdriver. So on the side here, there is, you have to bear with me because I am upside down and backwards here. There is a cotter pin on the side that you want to start and bend over like so. Keep a hold of that pin, and then use your needle nose to straighten that cotter pin out and see if you can get it to start to move. They'll get all twisted on you, so you got to use some elbow grease. Now you flip it over and you get to the eyelet. Now I guess I could have used these same shackles. I could have saved those, but kind of like a U-joint, when you change one part out, you should just go ahead and change it all out. So now that I've got a hold of the eyelet, I'm going to hit it like so up against that cylinder to pry that out. These guys come out like so. Like I said, there was 36 of these. So 36 shackles, 36 pins, 36 cotter keys or cotter pins, and then 72 blades. So I'm guessing this thing's going to run like a hot rod when I am done. Now, because I have OCD, or CDO really, it's like OCD, but the letters are arranged the way they're supposed to be, you know, alphabetical. The first half, the cotter keys are pointing that way. The second half, they're going this way, and the reason why is when you get to the end, they have to face, the cotter keys have to face the wall, because you can't get the pin in from the wall. So, just like so. And then we're going to start this with our flathead. Split the cotter pin just enough to where we can manipulate it with a pair of needle nose. We're going to hold back on the shear pin, and we're going to bend that up. Now, half of these were all twisted around and not done correctly, and that's why they were so hard to get out. But there we go. And then we want to take our channel locks and go ahead and close those so they don't grab material as they're working. And you want this guy to look like a drunken octopus. Here, I'll show you. You see, doesn't it look like a drunken octopus? Fight me. So while I'm under here, I'll give a little demonstration. Like I was saying before, this cylinder here is what the unit rides on. And you want it to ride on this, and then there's shoes on the sides that keep it level. This spins. And it's at a high RPM, so there's no slack. Centrifugal force keeps those down. And I can see right here, I've got about 3 inches from my blade to the bottom. And that's about, you know, 3.5 is where you want to cut your grass. Now there's one right there, just has 1 on it. Here. Yep. And this one right here just only had 1 left on it, where they're supposed to have 2. So I've got, I think, 12 to go. And I'm going to put the skirt back on. So now, if you're not afraid of a little work, you can do these yourself. I usually bite off more than I can chew, and more work than I should really be doing, but this here has taken me about 2 hours so far. A little bit of a learning curve, but if you can find an old flail mower the blades are going to be shot, about guaranteed. I got these new blades, or hammers they're called, in Cedar Rapids from an Alamo dealer. This is an Alamo Flail Mower. And I've got more in the blades than I do in the actual mowers. So if this thing works better than it did when I first got it, man, I really got something here. You know, it's just machinery, so if you can put new blades and grease your joints and new belts, heck, a fresh coat of paint, what's the difference? You know, a little bit of elbow grease and you can have a brand new unit basically, rather than going out and spending, I bet you this thing was $10,000 brand new. And the trick is to get those cotter pins straight to where you're not fighting it. The first couple were so twisted that they must have had a helper or an apprentice putting them on, because man, it took everything I had to get it out of there. So they weren't thinking ahead. And you never want to pry with your needle nose. Always use your channel locks, as you'll bend those needle nose. They're not meant for it. Come on, baby. There we go. There, that's how you get those out. You can't be afraid to put some heat to it. However, I should have taken a video of me trying to get the old PTO off of these mowers, because man, they were seized on. And just split that cotter and get it to start twisting, bending, I should say. Also, the reason, if some of these, the way they had them on there, let's see, which one can you see? There. Well, any of these, if you have the cotter key sticking out, it won't be able to spin. So you want everything to be free-flowing. If you have a piece of the cotter key sticking out and it can hit that shaft, well, it won't spin. Well, let's say that stops, then you get a bunch of grass in there. This stops. Now it's not making its full extension, I guess is the way to look at it. Seems kind of promising. It's also nice that they make it to where you really can't screw these up and put it on two different ways. They sharpen both sides of those blades. I can't wait to mow with this sucker. So what's everybody do for a living? Your tradesmen? Project managers? Bankers? Millwrights? Electricians? Pipe fitters? I'm a pipe fitter. 23 years in local 33, Des Moines, Iowa. Been a great trade. Definitely taught me how to do about anything I want to. Ooh, that one broke. So that means that's going to be a pain in the butt to get out. Ooh, got it. It got me. About the right interval here is to do about 6 and then get up and have yourself a beer. So I am about ready for that. I think on my next 6 I'm going to have to come in from the other direction so I can get my right hand up there. I got 1 to go before it's break time. Ooh, man, that sucker's nasty. Thanks, guys. Nope, wrong screwdriver. Am I the only one that talks to myself while I'm working? I can't be. I tell everybody I talk to myself while I'm working because I want expert advice. Ooh, it's gonna go. Well, it's gonna be a pain either way. Got it. And it might have made more sense to unhook this thing from the 3-point. I've got it up on jack stands underneath of it so it doesn't crush me to death, but maybe it would have made more sense to pick it up with the actual mower or the tractor itself and turn it upside down and or up on its end maybe. Alright, looks like I've got 6 to go after this guy. Try not to impale myself. It's also important to pull down on that cotter pin when you start bending it to get that eyelet sunk in as good as you can. So as you bend and twist, you kind of pull it down. One. There we go. It's break time.